once you right. In vessels, cargo vessels. Okay. But we need to talk about that. Welcome. The community start to say, okay, those who have the land, let's make it produce. How we can put together people working and generate a solidarity system to support the worst part of the. At the same time, as the public government, in that moment, Ecuador was in an incredible struggle around, we have to reduce the official speech was, we have a really fat state, we have to reduce. So, and we have a crisis. So we have to cut in other parts that are not so efficient to the work right now that we need to do. Let's cut it and let's put the money in what we need, health and all supports. Okay. I started a big fight inside the government to tell them, you know what, if you cut our public sector in Galapagos, there we were close to the end because there's no cash. The only cash that comes from our public workers, that it was the second economy activity that generates cash and money in the islands. Big fight. But we stop it. Like, economists, I'm not an economist. I'm a lawyer. No one is perfect, and I thank you for doctor because that's how they talk. I'm a juris doctor, I'm not a PhD. I'm a juris doctor only. But yeah, and this was super important because it was an anti-cyclic decision to help to the economy in a way or another to work with the money that we have. Really important. And that helps a lot to keep the system working on something, because these guys from the national park, the guys from the Consejo de Gobierno, people from the local governments that have all the months their salary could move the economy. No? We are talking for a place of 32,000 people right now. No? Disseminated in 3 populated areas, and our other one we were 150 in Floriana. No? But there was no tourism, everything stopped. So, and we started to define also, based on this reflection with Edinburgh, and also we were talking in Cambridge, and also with San Francisco de Quito, we started to see this water, energy, and food nexus. Later we call it, we talk about biodiversity. So we start to say, okay, if we want to vision the future that is here in a way or another, because using the lockdown and other crisis, we developed with about internet meetings with close to 500 people, building what is called the Galápagos Plan 2030. That is the development, sustainable development, and ¿cómo sería ordenamiento en inglés? Siempre hago problemas. Ordenamiento territorial. I see la puse difícil.
Land management, but it's not land
Yeah.
management. Yeah, okay. Doesn't work.
But this is the main public policy instrument for Galapagos, for the right of people. That also, as you know, Consejo de Gobierno, or this collective place, is a very the only special regime that you have in Ecuador to administrate the territory and to for the government of the province. It was you have the president of the Consejo de Gobierno that is designated directly by the Presidente de la República, and you have the three mayors of San Cristóbal, Santa Cruz, and Isabela, and one representative of the rural parishes. And at the same time, you have four other ministers: environment, tourism, planning secretary, and also agriculture. This is the Governing Council, and a secretary, a technical secretary. It's how it works. So we developed this, and there we started to talk about, well, let's try to see the 2030 from the learnings of the pandemic. And there comes out the word called innovation. In the plan also talks, they talk about the innovation labs. People started to say, okay, we have to see what to do, and we need to diversify our economy and prepare ourselves for future shocks. We don't know what's coming in the future. Climate change is always there. What else that could stop our economies to see what we can do there? And that's because energy, and always energy, is a key issue also for the islands too. And this One Health approach is an approach that is linked with the health of human beings and the health of the ecosystem as the health of human beings too. It's really strategic for when you discuss invasive species approach. Well, and if you see here, this is another condition when we discuss sustainability in the islands, that is impossible to not to take care about, and is the way the curves of the tourist activity was before 2019, and for sure it wasn't. For sure, it's the same right now. I don't have the exactly numbers, but things have not changed for sure. It's like a tendency, and this is not an easy thing, because all the model that was developed through the 90s and 2000s was linked in a way of developing tourism in the islands under certain conditions. Sorry. And right now, these conditions are changing. People is starting to stay more in the cities. And what do you think that it opens? I don't know. What do you think that it means in practice? People staying to sleep or using the islands for like a base to develop their tourism. You have an idea?
It does, I would say, definitely more use of resources like water, which is already an issue in Galapagos.
Yeah, pressure, no? More pressure in the life of people, more pressure in the resources and in the public services. That we have not so good public services yet in Galapagos, but
Is the infrastructure there though to support that sustained growth right there in terms of like housing and other activities?
yeah, it's important. I'm going to show you something here. It's part of what I'm trying to discuss with you. In 1950, there's a number of people who used to live in the islands. The last census in 2016 was like between that some projections and studies about what's the number of people that we have. This is a study, this is based in Byron Delgado's study about the population in Ireland. There was someone that was working with FCD, with Fundación Chávez Darwin. And the census, it can be done because the pandemic, they stopped it, no? But they are trying to, right now, I think, well, it's already done. And the projection, I don't have official numbers yet, but the projection was close to this, 32,000. And in a way or another, this thing before is part of it too. Because tourism in Galapagos is a big business, really good. The routes of plane in Ecuador, the most cotizated route is the Galapagos route. You have to understand that Galapagos right now, because we know in the future, but right now only have two aerial ports, Quito and Guayaquil. These are a result of the recommendations of UNESCO. When Galapagos was close to be a risk natural heritage, 2010, the state of Ecuador do a lot of effort to get out of that risk. And one of the recommendations is to support just less entrance to Galapagos. Because if you open, the risk is open. This was part of the concept in the back of this kind of decisions. But this is one of the things, and this is important to understand too. And also, this is the evolution of the needs of power in electricity. See how it increased. It's a projection, no? Right now, we are here right now. Take your moment because it's important. This is linked also with another thing that you said, infrastructure. How I build my house. What I use for ventilation for the hot seasons. How you organize your culture of living in the island. How you understand what is the way of living in an island. What you need for that. Galapagos historically have a lot of migration, so people with immigration comes with a kind of culture for sure. Maybe people in the highlands, in the Indian Coast region, in the Amazon region, we have plenty of that migration. They live in a way and lives in another ways, and they say, okay, I prefer not too big windows. Maybe let's do more concrete, not necessarily wood. And right now we have a conditioner air. So that's better of putting your house in a way that winds used to come, because that's modernism. Okay? It happens all the day. And this is a complex situation of energy in Galapagos. I hope that I'm sounding coherent in my reflection that getting to the points that I want to touch on. What are the challenges of why we decided to create this initiative of a Galapagos Hub for sustainability, innovation, and resilience, like a tool. We're trying to see if we can work and think together for solutions. And this, for me, is incredible. Also, the information here, because this is a struggle between the life of the people, and say, okay, you have a national park around you, so in the populated islands, you only able to occupy the 3 or 4% of your territory. Yeah, it sounds good because you say, okay, let's put the limits, but you densify the life too. So you're putting a lot of people living in a small place, using septic, Eso es el nombre, pose en inglés.
Wray.
Sí, wells.
Cosa certificada.
Pose
No,
es una de-
certificada.
Entonces, están- Okay. 2,000 people living with that kind of density in Santa Cruz. Something's gonna happen in health, for sure. No, of our own people and nature. It's important because you can see the density of Hong Kong and Mumbai in proportion. There's no town that we live in Galapagos. You're aware of that? So what I want to say, the decisions around sustainability, conservation, development in these complex and tragic ecosystems, as even in Stanford, have all these scenarios, variabilities, and possibilities. And you put a little more weight here, and suddenly get under control. And I think, at the end, also is a problem of trade-offs. Sometimes you have to choose. It's really important. It's impossible to be, like we used to say in Español, monedita de oro, no? It's impossible to be a gold king. In some cases, you have to take the decision. This was a discussion when we locked down Galapagos, was a discussion of why you open a new route or not of planes. It's a discussion of why you have to generate invasive species agency strictly focused in support the prevention of invasive species in the sea, invasive species that come from plane or even from boats. This part of why you have to do that. And also is the reasons because in the national park, the state of Ecuador, around legal decisions in the past, never been aware of the growing population. Right now, we could be around 50,000, 100,000.
Trabajamos para una ONG extranjera que no tiene domicilio.
In the problems that islands are facing right now have been facing, but tourism also is a really good business. So it's one of the great attractors of people coming to Galapagos to work. I'm not talking against tourism, no, it's just put it in parts. Because someone could say, okay, so we're going to stop tourism, and then not going to let me get into the islands. Not talking about, I'm just thinking about the problems. Okay. Gasoline consumption in Galapagos. Million gallons. Because the activity also comes with cars. When I start in 2019, my administration started in January 16 of 2019. The manager of the electric company of the province of Galapagos, Galápagos, come to me and told me, Minister, we have a problem. We have a situation, like say in Houston, we have a situation. Okay, what's the situation? Our thermoelectrical plant generator power that works with diesel in Santa Cruz is getting to the top of their use because why? I think that maybe one of the problems is that the people that have electric cars is charging the energy to the wall, to the plant. So we are paying electric energy for the cars with diesel. And the thermoelectric was because the relation is between 16 to 20% of aeolic and solar with diesel for power, 80% with diesel for power. We're still yet in that relation. maybe in the next years, it's going to change because it's going to be a big investment of solar panels in Baltra, 20 hectares of them. Okay.
My question is concerning wind energy. Isn't there a risk for the bird life in the islands if you use wind energy?
As far as I know, right now, the eolic is based in the case of Baltra was the airport for Santa Cruz. So I think that impact there is not so big, and the other one, the eolic plant, is in San Cristobal in the highland. But as far as I know, there's not a big impact. But yes, it could be. I know that this is a big discussion of this in Europe, in other parts of the world, for the migratory routes of that. But it's really an impact. I'm going to tell you, and you can see that of over the birds is the cars in the route that goes from the airport to the pump of San Portoyo to the Itabaca channel. You have 42 kilometers from there to the channel, and you have to pass to go to Baltra and get a plane. So you have all this kind of things. People living with the trucks, Toyotas that use for transportation, double cabin, trying to move themselves at 30 kilometers inside a town, or into a straight line. Yeah, I mean, and the rush hours are the hours where the birds are mobilizing themselves to one part to another. That's one of clear impact. I don't know of the other ones. For sure, maybe there is, but the impact of the cars is really big. It's important this because if you talk about sustainability right now, climate change, living in islands, all these million of gallons are transported by ship to Galapagos. Huh? And this is the diesel consumption around other sources, no? See. It's important because when we were discussing about innovation, sustainability, and resilience, trying to link the work of academia, where's the people that is thinking things, trying to link, because the hub is a place where you can sit together and work together. Between whom? The private, the public, the science, the academia, the community. People trying to find solutions. What are the solutions here? What are the solutions here? Because this is a lot. But it's until we have a chance to have the technology, because we are islands in the middle of oceanic islands, no? So navigating an oceanic island is not easy. You need power, yeah. You need to secure issues. You need something that works under, I don't know, hybrid systems, new engines with hydrogen, any kind of thing that could work in the future for all the world. But right now, this is what we have, no? Okay, and this is the percentage that you worry about. How we generate power. We're still in a very low generation with more alternative energy. Arturo could talk a lot of anecdotic experiences of when Galapagos doesn't have power for 20 hours, because it happens, I don't remember, like 15 years ago.
I think it was at the late 1980s, 89 or 1990, when for the first time Galapagos had 24 hours electricity. Before that, it was just 12 until 10 at night, and then until 12 at night, and then the power will go up. Will go out for 6 hours, and then you will get it again at 6 in the afternoon, and then in the morning.
And for sure, when it comes 24 hours, the life of people changes, and the impact in the needs of energy increases for sure. Because maybe before the radio or the TV was in batteries, you had to borrow in the continent or with a cargo system, or maybe you use TV only, so you don't need TV, so you don't need the LED ones, or you like, once you have electricity, human beings put everything under the pressure of the connection that you have. 20 hours. It's really interesting, but these little decisions, what it means in the life of the people.
And just allow me, and culturally speaking, we used to sing and, play the guitar more. And that was gone when the electricity came, stereos and things like that.
These contacts in the bongo. Okay. This is old, but it didn't change. Yeah, even now, this is a relation. Maybe increases materiales de la construction materials, 70%. This is how our load distribution works. It comes from ships. And this is one of the biggest complex risks for invasive species. As far as I know, how do you say zarigüeyas in English?
Like fossils.
Fossils. Right now,
Yeah.
we are dealing with that. It happens like a few months ago. It comes in the carga. Beautiful animals when they're still in the highlands. I love them. Yeah, but they're amazing. I love las zarigüeyas son tan bonitas, pero son animales muy simpáticos. A mí me gustan. Pero ya sobre gustos. Yeah, but having one could be 10.
There's hundreds of them.
Yeah, there are hundreds of them. This is really complex. There's a lot of effort in investment of international funds and public funds to the extermination strategies. Arturo, I know that he was sharing with all of you the process of against cats, rats, cats and dogs maybe, but more cats and rats in Floriana, for example. So we have to do that. You know the story of Galapagos, since the pirates and the whalers, all these animals started to get into the islands. We still having like savage pigs in there, things like not so savage, but they stay there, they turn savage, and also the goats. All this story, la desaparición, la extinción of some of the species of turtles under the impact because they took the turtles, put them into the boat. It was fresh meat for 6 or 9 months because they can live without water. A lot of stories around that. And all the efforts that changed through 6 years ago, at least, of managing the national park to recover all the damage that the human activity generated in the island since 18th and 19th century, 20th century too. So some of the conclusions and challenges that the plan, Tinker plan discussion also wanted to understand when we started to discuss and developing the strategies, the policies, the things that have to be done. As a brief of this, it says that the dynamic of the development, the development that's going on right now in the islands, it have a contradiction with natural heritage values and quality of life as a result of the intensification of the pressures, inner pressures and external pressures. And we saw some of them, no, before this. That's the reason because I started sharing with you all the information so you can understand why you have to face these challenges. And this Galapagos. We started to talk a little bit about the how fishery is organized in the islands. You can see the only what is the only kind of fishery that is allowed in Galapagos? Artisanal fishery. You're not, yeah. This is the number, the way or another, of artisanal fishery that we have. But not all of them are active. Only a minority is working. All of them have a license, but just few of them are doing their job day by day. No? This is the CIAT is un organismo de regulación pesquera, a fishery regulation organization. It's called the OROPS, that manage all the fishery, industrial fishery, and some of the artisanal fishery in the region. It's a number of the fishery effort that we have right now. Our fleet, this was 11 barcos cerqueros of tuna. Our fishery tuna fleet is one of the most important in the Eastern tropical Pacific, the biggest. And it's important to understand the pressure also in the sea. This is the Chinese fleet in their periodical movement around Galapagos. There's an economic exclusive zone. When you check the international regulation, the United Nations Convention of the Sea, the principle is not only territorial sea, is economic exclusive zone that surrounds, in this case, the marine reserve of the islands, and also the are 12 miles of territorial sovereignty sea, and then it goes to a economic exclusive zone. These are different complex, and here are high seas. Yeah. Is where the fleets, not only the Chinese, but the Chinese has more media streaming about the impacts, because it's a big fleet for sure. And there's a lot of questions about how they manage their own labor standards, but it's really.
Are there any impacts in the migration of fish, or that would reproduce, for instance, there, or like they reproduce in Galapagos and then they go there? Are there any impacts concerning that?
The migration of.
I mean, those fisheries probably catch the fish in between the mainland Ecuador, mainland South America, and the Galapagos Islands. Are there any impacts on the reproduction cycle, life cycle of those species?
For sure, what happens in practice, as far as we know, and what science is telling to us, is that places as Galapagos, and being a protected area where it's not allowed to have industrial fishing here.
Yes.
And there's incredible climate conditions related with the currents that encounter here. This is a nursery of life.
Yes.
So it works in favor. When they go out, and you're gonna see in the economic zone, and later, that's because there's a lot of pressure here.
Yes, but this is my question exactly. Like, if Galapagos serves as a nursery, don't having fisheries right outside economic zone would impact the life cycle of those fish?
Yeah, it impacts for sure. And you're gonna see this is important because over here is Costa Rica.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
this is one of the impacts. It says one of the lances sería como el
Control.
problem. The cerco, that is the strategy, industrial art that they use for tuna, around the, ¿cómo se dice en inglés plantados? Se me fue el nombre ahorita. Los dead, el muerto que dice.
Fishing aggregation devices.
It says that you can recover between 1 or 700 tons of marine species. This is how it works. So it says, lo que un atunero, a tuna vessel of 1,200 tons it can capture in a month is more than like all the year of work of an artisanal fleet of Galápagos could do. That's the effort. It's really important. So really strong efforts. This is a big discussion in Galapagos, how to control the effort of the fisheries fleets. And they left a lot of these ones, of los plantados. And they have a strong impact also in the university because they move through the currents and they get into the islands too.
These aggregation devices, sorry, you know what they have floaters and they have these lines that drop down and they attract fish, but they float. So the purpose is to attract the fish, and then they come with the ships behind and then collect them. But they can be very damageable. Those floating devices.
It's important also to see is the effort of the fleets, industrial fleets around the Galapagos. You can see the bigger one is from Ecuador for sure, because you have the preference to work in your economic exclusive zone. The other ones that are there have to be allowed to do their job. They rented the place, whatever. Maybe some of them are illegal. It could be also. But this is the pressure. You can see. It's really, really important that because a species doesn't know about where the marine reserve ends. They know that it's better here than here. But so we talk about sustainability, we talk about resilience, and to see we can left in these incredible places the impact of human activities as fishing, the worldwide impact of fishing. But our fleet also travel around the world. This is the Ecuadorian fleet around the world, not only in Galapagos. The same can say other fleets, because sometimes you can take like this very strong national approach to the problem. But when you go to the international regulations organizations to discuss regulations for the high seas, then you can understand what's going on, because in the discussion of the BBNG, this Treaty of High Seas of Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdictions, I don't know, but the agreement was it's incredible, biodiversity beyond national jurisdictions. One of the pledges of and was the way the treaty was approved is not to put fishery under the concept of biodiversity of the treaty. Interesting. Because they say it's regulated in other parts. But this is a problem. And then all the fleets agree on that around the world. If you want to have a treaty of BBNG, biodiversity, talk about corals, talk about whatever you want. Don't put the fishery species with commercial value under that regulation, because there's another framework where we discuss that. It's not easy. So this is another thing that is interesting to face when you discuss this, and when you see the arguments when we discuss international regulation around this. And this BBNG was just approved for sure under these circumstances. And this is the famous Eastern and Tropical marine corridor called SEMAR. Right now, on the eyes of the world, Galapagos here, is like linked on that. Because it was the Glasgow announcement, the last Glasgow announcement in the last COP, not the last, no, another one before the Egypt. The presidents of Ecuador, Colombia, Panama, and Costa Rica said that they want to create biosphere reserve under the UNESCO guidelines in CIMAR to improve the protection of this area. And in our ocean conference, I came from Panama right just yesterday, and I'm sorry, we arrived from there, and the ministers of all the countries said that they want to go forward in a legally binding covenant to protect CIMAR. Regional legally binding. Interesting, but it's going to be a really important discussion. But people, countries are trying to get connected to that. And this is the invasive economy. Wow. Talking about invasive species, and we're talking about invasive economies. And this is the point that I want to go, because right now we have another threat that is also incredibly difficult to read. It's incredible the things that you can find in the internet. Always someone take a picture of a private meeting of the Southern Command and they put it in the web. Okay, since 2016, you can see that there was a migration of the routes of drug smuggling and all the things from the Caribbean to the CIMAR territory, the Eastern Tropical Pacific. Why? Because it's really complex. It's huge. We're talking more than 500,000 square kilometers. To more than that, this is more than 500 CIMARs like that. You can be like cross-lapping between fishery vessels that are doing other kind of activities, and you only have the capacity to intervene with the 10% of what's going on here. It's not another threat. Another threat in the lives of people, in the resilience of the community, in the capacity to resist, to be seduced to these kind of activities. So all the things that we do in conservation right now, sustainability, innovation, have to be the opportunity to the communities to have a chance to support oppression. Because if we have fisheries, if you say, okay, we are going to close the effort of the fishery fleet, artisanal fleet in Galapagos, good conservation, go forward. What are they going to do for living? I only put the questions, because that's incredible of academia that you can make questions and then you can discuss the solutions. That's part of it. But this is a complexity that we have to face, not only in Ecuador, in the region. The problem is that in Galapagos is the only natural heritage, the region of Cocos, Maripelo, Coiba, that have people living inside them. The other one have users of the coastline. Not less important, but Galapagos is the only one that have people living inside of them. All the other marine protected areas, people doesn't live here. Maripelo is a rock, incredible life, plenty of life, but there's the difference. And well, the tons of carga. And I just want to say that there are the protected areas of CIMAR. You can see, and this is the new protected area. Ecuador also declared the expansion of the area protected in economic exclusive zone. 60,000 square kilometers, 30,000 of no use of long line, and fishery but no long line, and another one no take. And the idea is to generate, well, this reflects the complexity of getting an agreement with the fishery sector of Ecuador. Because if you see, it's so weird, it's more clear that you cover like that and go forward and no, wait a minute. The fishery industry generates $2,000, $2,000 million per year. That's the money of the business. So, and jobs and all these things. So wait a minute, and they say that there are the competitivity with other fleets is because they have their exclusive slum around the Galapagos, plenty of life, close to the only 1,000 kilometers. Well, they travel around the world, though, you can see. And the most of their effort is over here. One of the reasons because this is here. I'm trying to connect to Cocos in Costa Rica. This is Cima. But all the eyes of the world is right now in Cima. This is the all ocean picture of the last 2 years. Sorry. There's our Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Environment of Costa Rica. People from the Triangle of Coral, no, in the area of Oceania.
That's next class.
Yeah. These guys from the Smithsonian. This is the guy that managed the Bezos Fund. Mr. Samper. Give the name of the founders. Do something there. Some of them. and yeah, you can see there's Kerry, John Kerry here.
She's sleeping.
Sorry, just trying to put on the mic. No, he's really interesting guy. I'm really committed with this. And this is one of the big questions that it comes out also in the discussion. How the effective management of protected areas contribute to the economy of coastal communities. Right now it's linked to tourism, fishery, all the things to be. When we create a hub, we were thinking also to give opportunity to knowledge economy, science, the possibility to diversify from there. So right now the hub is linked to doing innovation calls to see how we can push our people in coalition with people with national and internationals to research options and prototype ideas that could help to the community to face this. And this is the reason because they show you the pressure of illegal activities. Because if we not do something fast, things could be worse in the future in the way people is trying to understand why is my relation with the natural heritage, how I can see other opportunities that give me the chance to not to be seduced by necessity or by ambition, or by both, to other kind of money that could come and hurt at the end their own lives and also the natural heritage. And these institutions, and I saw here something was interesting for us, Arturo, and for me and the people that we're thinking of a hub for discussion of resilient sustainability and risk and innovation, because biosphere reserves of UNESCO historically was created for that, research and innovation for sustainability. This is in the back of when you check the history of the concepts around the agreement of Sevilla, the things that we're discussing in the 70s around why we have to go UNESCO to this biosphere reserve was, let's see if we can do it and find opportunities also for the community and sustainability and opportunities for the economy of the people. These guys from Smithsonian, and you can see all these from Rewild is DiCaprio, and Bezos, you know this guy. Hubert Early is also an ocean leader from Switzerland. And what the Smithsonian, you know, people was thinking about, and they were so supportive about the idea of push, the idea of CIMAR as an example of how we have to protect the seas, the high seas, and the conservation of the seas that are under threat right now. Thank you very much. I hope
Please speak down with us. We have questions. Please.
It just let me put the first one so we can